Today we're going to speak about a verb, feed. Why I decided to do this? Because one of my students came to the lesson, and while she was speaking about her morning routine, she mentioned a phrase, I feed my husband. So first she started saying, I feed my cats, and then I feed my husband. So we decided to clear up whether feed is okay to be used with a husband. As a joke, I'd say that each husband can actually make their breakfast for themselves. But if you are a really loving wife, you can actually make it with your hands, serve it to your husband, and be remembered as a beloved one. So, actually, let's take it seriously. So, let's look at all the definitions, all the meanings of the word feed, then see some situations where this verb can be used, some collocations, and also some examples. So I'm going to use my board here and share it with you so you can actually see my collection of definitions. Okay, give it a second, moment. All right, so let's check the very beginning. Let's go up. Okay, so first of all, we have to remember that the word feed is irregular, which means that the past form of feed is fed, as you can see here, and the past participle used in perfect tenses, used as part of participle phrases, is fed. Okay, so we're lucky to get two irregular forms which are absolutely identical: feed, fed, fed. And okay, let's go for definitions. So first of all, feed is a transitive verb. Transitive means that it can take an object without any additional uh, parts of speech, no prepositions needed. So the first meaning, which actually I think my student used in her answer, is to give food to somebody, a person, it can be an animal or baby, as we can see here. So we can feed the dog, for example, or a mother can feed a baby. My mom is sick now, for example, so she can't eat herself, so I need to feed her. So this is the direct meaning of the word feed. Then we can actually provide a meal or supply provisions for a group. For example, feed an army. Well, we don't want to speak about war now, but yeah, so our taxes feed our army. And I have a family to feed, or I may have a mouth to feed, meaning that I have a child, so I need to provide for this child. And usually men try to make as much money as they could to provide for a family. Not only a man can do it, but also any woman can do it. Well, now we live in this world where everybody is independent. Anyways, okay, to provide a meal or supply. The same thing, not only about money, as we could figure here, it could be supply, provisions, or all kinds of necessary things, goods. Right, the next thing is to put food into someone's mouth, literally assisting people to eat, as if we with this as with this situation of mine where my mom is a patient as she's sick, so I need to put the food into her mouth sometimes as it is difficult for her to hold the spoon herself. Right. Then the next meaning is to supply or fuel a machine, fire, or system with material. Okay? As it is says here, feed the meter with coins, feed the fire. Okay? So you give coins to the meter, yeah, tries, helps to perform payments, transactions for parking, for example, or feed the fire, add some more wood to the fire so it continues. Then the next meaning is to supply data, information, or content into a system or to a person so we can feed data into a computer. Feed him the answers, right? Whoever he is. To nourish or sustain a plant, that is a next meaning of the word feed, right? So you can use fertilizers to feed your plants so they grow faster or produce better fruit, whatever, right? So feed it with a certain fertilizer. Fertilizer is a substance used to help a plant grow better. The figurative meaning, still, it is a transitive verb meaning to gratify or fuel an emotion, habit or addiction. For example, feed your ego. That's what I'm doing now, creating a video for my followers and also seeking for some activity and some comments from my followers, from whoever watches this video at the moment. Right, then feed the addiction, right? So the more videos I post on my social network, the higher my addiction is, right? The stronger I would say my addiction is to that. That actually, I love it. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So you can also feed somebody with promises, okay? Which means that you keep saying something to a person, keep promising something to a person instead of actually doing so. Right. Okay, let's go on. Feed can also be an intransitive verb, which means it does not need any object. For example, just to eat. Simply used, for example, when we talk about animals or babies. So the cows are feeding in the meadow. It means that they are in the meadow, this open space, beautiful place outdoors with grass, eating grass actually without anybody helping them to do that. And then the second meaning of an intransitive verb, so when the verb can live its own life with no need of object, to be nourished or sustained by something. For example, the river feeds into the lake, meaning it flows into the lake. As a noun, you see, it has the following meanings. So food for domestic animals or birds. So feed becomes a noun. Chicken feed means chicken food. Dog kibble. An act of giving food, so the process itself. So the baby's 2 a.m. feed means this meal or the time when the baby needs to get its food, actually mother's milk, when the baby needs to be nursed. So the mom feeds the baby with breast milk. It's either breastfed or nursed. Okay, and we're using participle here, so the baby is breastfed. Mechanism or device for supplying material to a machine. It's also the printer's paper feed. Okay, so just some kind of part of your devices we could mention here. A broadcast, transmission, or data stream. And we all are familiar with this since we all use social networks. So every morning you open your social network account and you just check the feed, satellite feed, the news feed, or whatever it can. And then a continuously updated stream of social media content. Again, yeah, well, that's what I was actually saying. So social media, for example, your Instagram feed. Okay. And in the previous meaning, it is a kind of a more general term, right? Let's check some key collocations, right? Would be interesting, by the way, to look at. And actually, I learned collocations. I learned situations where words can be used through movies, through watching movies, reading books. So I find this context everywhere. So that is a very, very good advice how to extend your knowledge, how to actually brush up your English. Watch more authentic content. YouTube videos, podcasts help as well. Listen to the native speakers. Choose your favorite celebrity. Try to imitate their speech. Collect the best phrases, interesting stories. It helps. Okay, let's get back to our feed. So the key collocations or common word pairings, we could say. So collocations, these are like kind of like combinations of words. So you can feed the cat, feed the dog, feed the horse. We already figured that out. You can feed birds, or you can breastfeed. As I said, mothers feed their babies with their own milk, breast milk. So you breastfeed. So a woman has just had a baby, so she breastfeeds, and so she needs to actually eat herself more. Uh, um, on the contrary, some babies are bottle feed, which means the mom either doesn't have the breast milk or the mom is not there. So, anyways, the bottle feed baby does not receive the mom's milk but receives the food, the milk from a bottle. Then you can feed the hungry or feed the poor. They're hungry, they're poor. Here we have an adjective used with an article, definite article, referring to a group of people. So they're hungry means the group of hungry people. as many as we can have in our situation. The same thing about the poor. The part of the society who are poor and need help, so we feed them. Feed the family or feed the kids, yeah. In different meanings, right? Directly, like literally feeding them, or providing them, as we could read from previous definitions. Okay, machines technology, paper feed, already mentioned. Yeah, feed the printer, we already know this. Feed the meter, like we had before, and so on and so forth. Look at this Twitter feed, right? Information that Twitter receives, and feed the internet cable through the wall. Okay, that is an interesting expression, by the way. Means kind of like provide the cable. No, not provide, I would say, but just kind of let the cable through the wall, right? So you could receive this internet signal. Okay, plants garden. You feed the soil with fertilizers, remember this. You feed your plants. Okay, figurative or abstract meanings. And we'll go up here. Feed the fire, flames, right? We don't actually give food to the fire, we just give wood, but the fire, right, continues. Uh, but it is not a direct translation, as we could manage, as we could notice. Look, here it's just make a situation worse. So be careful. That is an idiomatic expression, abstract, figurative expression. So if you feed the fire, you make the situation worse. Like let's say your wife is angry or your husband is angry, and you just tell them, or you start speaking about something this person really hates, so it means you feed the fire. Okay? So you do something to feed the flames, you do something to make a situation even worse than it is. Feed someone a line means to tell a lie. Nice expression. You can feed someone information, right? Or intel. Or you can feed your curiosity, like I am doing all the time, using a lot of interesting internet sources, a lot of books, right? A lot of authentic materials. And that is what I am trying to do to help my students to feed their curiosity regarding the language. So, feedback. It is a returned information. Everybody wants a feedback. I want a feedback on this video. Okay. And then feed into means to contribute to something. For example, his anxiety feeds into his insomnia, right? Insomnia. So insomnia is when you can't sleep. So it's kind of like a disease, I would even say. Right. Okay, let's look at some situations where our verb can occur, right? So let's imagine the context of daily household routine. I need to feed the kids before school. Okay, that's my routine. I have to do it every day, so I do it regularly. I'm a mom, so I need to give them food, right? So kids usually need to be fed, not literally giving food into, like, we don't put food into their mouths. We just prepare the meals for them, prepare food for them, put it on the table, and children can eat. Then farming, veterinary. We feed the cattle hay in the winter. Okay, right? What is cattle? Cattle are all our domestic animals, like cows, right, and horses, and etc., etc. Whatever you can imagine when you think of a farm. Hay is the grass that we pick, collect in summer, dry it, right, so that we can feed our animals in the winter when there's no grass, so they can't actually feed themselves in the meadows, right? And then baby care. She sits in the rocking chair to feed the baby. Okay, so the mom sits in the rocking chair. We don't know whether she breastfeeds or bottle feeds, but anyways, that is what she does in the rocking chair. Rocking chair is the chair which can move back and forth, right? Actually, very good when you have a baby, so the baby falls asleep faster. Now we can use it in some office situations. For example, in IT, we can use an example here. Please feed these documents into the scanner. Right, actually put the documents into the scanner so we can get the scans. Broadcasting, social media. The live feed from the camera keeps cutting out, meaning that from time to time you can't get the right signal, and so you can't watch it properly. I scroll through my Facebook feed. We already mentioned that in our discussion regarding social media. Fueling an emotion, okay? Don't feed the trolls online. I'm sure there are some trolls online that are not very happy with my videos and probably spot the mistakes, but remember, I am not a native speaker, but trying to be a very good teacher. Don't give them the reaction they want means do not try to react to the trolls. Okay? I do not do that. Try not. And okay, so the last thing, the last situation is geography, hydrology, several small streams feed the main river. As we mentioned before, here, feed is intransitive, so happily lives alone, right? Doesn't need any kind of object. Okay, so I'll share the link to this board, actually, so you can open it and you can read the information again by yourself, digest it. So returning to the idea that my students suggested regarding this, I feed my husband. That's a good thing. Yeah, as we say, every husband can make himself breakfast, lunch, dinner, or whatever. But if we're good wives or good girlfriends and we really care for this man, it's a nice idea to just use our culinary skills, make something really tasty, and feed the guy. And there's a very old fashioned saying in Russian that the path to man's heart goes through his stomach. Sometimes it really does work. So, okay, I hope this information was quite interesting, and I hope that you could find some more examples of the usage of the situations of the context where the verb is used, and you'll remember this and start using it in your everyday conversations. Thank you very much for today's lesson. Watch for new ones. Goodbye.